Ah! It's 10 o'clock. Do you know where your children are? It's 10 o'clock, when I record these things. But I usually upload, so it's 11:45. No, well, that depends, actually, on when I get back and when I upload it. But I'm done with work. It's night drive. I am Billy at _Swan_man on Twitter. Repping for the Army of Snarkness, at Army of Snarkness on Twitter. Like the Facebook page for Army of Snarkness, please. And download all of our past, present, and future episodes on iTunes, Spreaker.com, Internet Radio, and Stitcher.com. And you can listen to us on YouTube if you really want to, but that's weird. Freak. Besides, I'm going to be uploading some of that to my own personal page. Things like today. The 4th chapter in an ongoing series called The Backyard Chronicles, also known as HRW, Hardcore Rules Wrestling, misspelled rules because we're extreme and it's the late 90s. That's what's up. So at this point, I've already told you kids about Jake and Andrew and Greg, and I haven't brought up Marcus. Now here's the trick on this, because I'm talking about, the story arc is that eventually I get out of backyard wrestling, not only because I'm in college, but because the taste gets, it gets a little ugly. It got a little ugly watching Psycho Sam get his brains caved in just a touch. Like, that was kind of fucked up. But this is yet another stone in that path of growth, of the evolution of HRW and what it means. And what does it mean to me as a person, both, personally, of course, and professionally. Like, is this what I want to do with my life? And lots of big questions and changes. And on the 10-year anniversary, why the fuck not? So, also theater came in like proper. I started getting gigs in theater at this time. So that ate up a lot of time with the backyard wrestling, because that was, in the interim of anything else. So, the last known event we had, I think there is actual tape of this. So I'll try and wrangle it up, but there's a lot of VHSs at the old homestead that I need to rifle through. But I'm pretty sure I have video proof of this happening, at least somewhere. So, unless I taped over it, I hope not. I'm going to go looking just for you guys, and for myself. But, we go looking for that. Who is Marcus? Marcus was the token black kid. He was a black kid that we met in middle school. Kind of, black kid we met in middle school, a little rotund. And he was way into wrestling. And he lived, he came to my wrestling-themed birthday where we started this mess. But he was kind of unreliable at getting to other places because he had a huge family and whatnot. But he was always down for, an event every now and then. But he was also kind of goofy. Like, all due respect, I'm not saying he's an asshole or anything. I'm saying, he was very much of 13, of 14, of 15, where, the precocious amongst us were trying to make it a little more edgy, a little more dark. And when HRW was the transformation from playing around as WWE guys, because that was the thing. That's what started this mess, was I had a birthday themed off of WWF at the time, Attitude Era, and we had, we basically played out a pay-per-view card that I had come up with, because we wanted to imitate it. It's just what you did. And I was the Mick Foley characters. We had a Stone Cold, which is hilarious in hindsight, but awesome. And an Undertaker. Jake was Undertaker. Andrew was The Rock, because he could do the eyebrow, and we didn't have any Samoan children. He could do the eyebrow, and he could do the decent impression. He had the glasses. Andrew was also, the Shawn Michaels. I got to be Triple H. And that's what we did for a while, until, Patrick was doing X-Pac and did an X-Factor, and Marcus's head bounced off the thing, because the X-Factor is where you grab the dude by the head and jump with his head between your legs, it's hard to explain, in midair kind of thing, and slam his face on the ground between your sprawled legs. Bang! You're forcing his face down into the ground. It's just showy that you do it that way. X-Factor. And Marcus's head bounced up to sell it. Patrick's head was way down, so it knocked him right in the fucking face and cut his lips up with his teeth. And he had to go home, and his parents were so pissed. It was funny. It was, it's a sharp detour. There's a lot of hilarious blood. All due respect, but that's funny. That's a good memory. It was all very serious at the time, I'm sure, but nah. How could you forget a hilarious thing like that? Marcus was the kid that we had a fake microphone that did amplify our voice to a degree. It took like 4 or 6 fucking AA batteries, and you could hit your music while talking and talk over it. It would kind of amplify. Not well, but it would kind of do it in an electronic way. Look, this is the late 90s, so pretty cool for home electronics. I remember like 13, 12. Kiss my ass! Like you were any cooler. That's right. You weren't, because you're on the internet right now listening to me, which means you're a great person and I love you. Mwah! So, Marcus, instead of using the thing, he just never caught on to not being Farouk. He was Ron Simmons because he's the black kid, or Mark Henry because he was the black kid. He was all the black wrestlers because he was the black kid. I mean, why not? Fucking, of course. And it was good for him to have those kind of role models. Booker T, Gooden, he didn't have the ups for Booker T, but hey, whatever. After we let go of being, pretending to be someone else in the ring and actually started doing our own characters, our own storylines, backyard wrestling as ourselves, which was very empowered, and characters that we came up with for various reasons, to prove my mettle against my peers, thank you, to show off, to prove that I got what it takes to hopefully put a foot in the door, as you guys heard in previous chapters. We all had our motivations, and we were taking it very seriously. It's like a garage band, but with steel chairs and feats of daring do, or stupidity. It just depends on, how you look at it. Marcus never caught on to this fact. So, he wanted to come down for one of the last recorded events. It wasn't billed as such, but we did have a real table. Jake had snagged a real table from somewhere, or was it Greg snagged a real table? You remember Greg, the kid with the little money that was actually, we were going to the MWA, and yeah, we were looking to do serious as a pair. Like Edge and Christian, or the Hardy Boys. It could have, in an alternate world, might have turned out that way. Be in Ring of Honor together. But, life and things like this happen that, more like life, I took the safe-ish path as far as that could go, still artistic and foolish, so, but safer than, hauling ass to wrestling school. Also, I decided to go to college first and then do wrestling school. That's the thing. That's the rub. So, we're having a big event. Greg or Jake, Greg, brought an actual wooden table, the unfold, for us to smash through. And we're all chomping at the bit to, get into it. And, someone's going through that. Me being the Foley fan and the guy that takes a better beating than he gives out, of course I want to in on that. I want to go through it. And it's a title match. And all this stuff. And all this good shit. So we had that planned. And that's awesome. And we were filming several matches together in our usual spot at this time. And I had to get, mentally prepared, psyched up. Well, I guess, no, this is might have been a different day. These are 2 similar days, or no, this is the same fucking day. Alright, so I had to make an undercard. Of course, it can't just be me, fighting in a championship match. I had to have Marcus. Marcus came in with his sweatshirt dressed like an acolyte, Ron Simmons' Farouk character in WWE. He was acting like that still. He's talking into his hand as if it were a microphone, and we're all looking around, taping it like, what the fuck? This guy's the Lampoon character. He's become, the goofball. In the unknowing, we're laughing at, not with, and that's kind of sad. But it's funny because we're kids. We're assholes. That's right. And this is around the same period we had Jake, and he's smoking, and that's scandalous. And he has a porno mag, a softcore, like Playboy, that he got from, like, his sister or brother. No, sister. He just had sisters, so that's fucked up. Or one of his friends, also fucked up. Kids, what do you do? Portraying his badass character, which predates the American Badass Undertaker, actually. And it was a triple threat. I think this one I'm getting fuzzy because I took a lot of hits to the head on this one. So, yeah, it makes, yeah. Wait. Brain damage, what does it mean? I'll get into that detail. Okay, yeah. We'll focus on Marcus, because we got to get the ugly part, and then we'll do the farewell bit, which may or may not be the same day. Because it was on the same tape, and it was in the same, I think it's spring break weekend when we decided to do this, so that's why it's all run together to me. Ugliness. It's going to get dark, folks. Anyway. some less than reputable kids, you know, the dirty kids that wanted to drop out in fucking middle school and did drop out in high school later. All of them. Anyway, they wanted to watch, and I'm always down with an audience. So we do the fight. Marcus is there, and I do my table bump, and it impresses the filthy kids that I'm kind of apprehensive about, because not only were they bullies, but they were like legit fucking nonsense bullies, because, you know, whatever. They got beaten and raped by their brothers or sisters, or they hung out with, you know, the wrong crowd in the pseudo-ghetto that would be Clark County. Like, they were living the thug life for little trashy white boys. Thing is, though, they ain't fucking around, because, you know, probably into actual pills. I mean, their environment was legitimately off-putting, violent, disgusting, dangerous. There's that air that you can, you know, sniff. It's like, something's not right here. These kids had it, but my attempt was to merely appease them. I mean, I could have thrown down. I was in fighting-ish shape. We had the kendo stick, and we had all four of us, and we're all getting down. After they see us go through the table, they're like, oh, man, we can do better. And it's like, yeah, whatever, kids. Well, not then, you know, okay, peers, although they were never on my level or any of my friends' level. Fucking dirtbags, that's right. Fuck them. Up their stupid asses if they're not already dead. Funny. Anyway, we're in jail, probably jail. Gonna vote on jail. But nasty. But the thing is, we're fighting along. They leave, and I was like, well, that's cool, so they don't steal our video camera to hawk for weed or whatever the fuck they do. So they can buy beer. Douchebags. Assholes that tarnish the reputation of anyone around them. And I flat out said that in front of people and hurt some feelings along the way. Like, I just don't trust you. Sorry, kids, if you're under 18 and you're like, I'm guzzling beers and we brought some, it's like, it's a mark of a character trait. Sorry, especially in this town, because there's so many classes. You're either the classy ones that have your parents buy it for you, upper crust children, and you party in the basement, you don't bring it on public, or you're the goth children and stuff. But there's that in-between where the violent, you know, actual punks intermingle with, you know, the goth alternative children, and it gets muddy and gray. Yeah, I couldn't have that. I just wouldn't. By association, they were guilty because they would report to fuckfaces. And there's a story for another day about fuckfaces, but this is the wrestling thing. Backyard Chronicles! So, HRW. They come back, and we're having our big four-way match, and everyone's kind of occupied. So, they come out with a gas can, and they're like, hey, use this. And I'm like, okay, sure, but we'll have a fire match. Why not? And before the fire match, or after, Jesus, chronology, doesn't matter where you're telling the story, but like, I know. Long short of it is, at one point, you know, it's like, I'm cool with the fire match, because I know how to contain smartly the limited amount of gasoline I'm going to use, because it's all about the effect, and it's on mulch, so it's going to put itself out if I diffuse it, and God willing. Clearly it did, I'm here, and that's all good. But, so they do that, and like, okay, I can roll with that, because I can control, as long as I'm controlling that, it'll be good. In the middle of the fight, where everyone's occupied, it's three kids, and they gang up, and they get the kendo stick. And, you know, I'm trying to sell it in character, I'm trying to be the consummate professional, air quotes, and they nail me behind the knees, and that sucked several times. They just wail on me, but it's nothing I haven't gone through, and I'm in wrestling mode, so I'm used to the pain, but it's like, fuck! That took the wind out of my sails a little, because they were, you know, they're not hitting for show, they're hitting for hurt. They're hitting to really, you know, do some damage. And they did a little. I'm like, fuck! And I, you know, hit my knees, but I'm smart enough to just be like, you know, stay down for a sec, sell it like it's the worst thing ever. It was kind of the worst thing ever. I just do that, and then I roll out of the way. What happens is kind of gross. Because then they all just, like, you know, everybody takes a shot. Jake takes a lot more, but he's kind of cool with them, because he's in the muddy area that I was mentioning, socially speaking. So he's kind of cool with them anyway, and he takes a brunt of the things and starts to diffuse them, and it's cool, except that they all just gang up on Marcus, the black kid, and not only kendo stick the fuck out of him, but just completely go above and beyond the pale. Like, they didn't, you know, penetrate or anything. It's just the cruelty where all three didn't gang up on any one person except him. And it was that kind of ugliness that I saw, you know, out of the corner of my eye, face deep in mulch. nursing my own fucking, stingers at the moment and trying to make this situation go the fuck away. I get up, and they're not going to listen to me anyway, and they're wielding a fucking 3.5 foot long stick of reed, and who knows what else, because, they're not afraid to steal, clearly, or do violence onto someone, so it's a hard situation. Get up, I'm always, by the time I actually get up and, walk over and everyone's kind of stopped because they were wailing the fuck out of him, and he's hurt, they get up and go, they leave their shit. Jake says something, or, he clears it out pretty much. I'll leave the kayfabe stuff for the next chronicle of this fight, or a similar weekend. But really I want to talk about the ugly part first, and I'll talk about the pseudo-glory, the last thing, and hopefully dig up a tape of it. With the fire included, so next chronicle you get fire. But, he just picked himself up, and you can see the sadness in his eyes. I mean, why does it always end with sadness in his eyes? Like, it was beyond being defeated or teased. This was something else. And sadly, I think it was something he was used to a degree, but this was just violent and ugly. And that day in the aftermath, when we're all nursing our wounds in cold packs and shit, it just stopped, and I think Andrew, we thought about it, and it's just like, that really wasn't cool. I hope that never happens again. Let's make sure it doesn't. And that was just ugly. That took the fun out of it. To see people, we hadn't actually had, even in football or anything, where you're supposed to, kill the guy. Never seen violence done simply out of a joyful, disrespect or hatred. Hadn't seen that. To actually do something to willfully injure another human being, live and in person, hadn't seen that before. Later I would, but that was a girl fight, and that shit gets weird. But, no, that's just, another thing down. Another brick in the wall, if you will, on the build-up where it's not the way to go, or is, maybe it's just my disgust and humanity. Another layer of cynicism is coated on my brain. Why don't you trust people, Billy? Well, fuck them. Nasty shit like that. They came up as friends, claimed to be, on our side, or wanting to partake in our hobby, for lack of a better word, and they used that to basically pull a JV hate crime. Like, no one was killed, but I'm concerned about the emotional scars. I was concerned then, and looking back, it's a bad thing. It's like, why has it got to be bigotry all week? Seriously. But that's, next chapter, more or less, there'll be fire, maybe video evidence of it, and, the one big, last big showdown for my wrestling character, and pretty much all of our wrestling characters, that I know of, or that I can remember. And certainly, again, it was on tape. And it ends in a thud. But shit. No more depression. I hope you enjoyed it. I am Billy at _Swan_man on Twitter. Repping for the Army of Snarkness at Army of Snarkness. You heard all this in the beginning, but stay tuned. That was Chapter 4, HRW, The Backyard Chronicles. Chapter 5. End on a happier face? Maybe. But that is all there is. There is no more. Hope you enjoyed it.